I didn't go to therapy because I thought I had ADHD. I went because my relationship was falling apart. And somehow, the therapy ended up me getting diagnosed with ADHD, which sounds completely random, but looking back now, it explains almost everything. Because for most of my life, I didn't think my brain worked differently. I thought I was lazy, I thought I was messy, I thought I was dramatic, I thought I was just bad at being a normal adult. But then my relationship started getting better and I still was not okay. That was the moment I realized that relationship was not the only problem and maybe something was going on with me. So I was living in Delhi and before that Mumbai, and that's where I met my partner. And then COVID happened. Like many other couples, we ended up doing the long distance relationship. Our long distance relationship was like for 2.5 years without meeting or seeing each other. When you are in a long distance relationship, you can hide a lot of things. You can hide your habits, you can hide your mess, you can hide the days where you completely feel stuck. You can hide how chaotic your life is because that person is not living inside your daily life. But eventually we moved in together, and when you move in together, you can't really hide anymore. The way you live become visible, the way you react emotionally become visible, the way you struggle with basic routine becomes visible, and slowly things started getting very difficult between us. Not because we didn't care about each other, we did, but we kept hitting the same wall again and again. After years of feeling that something was not going right between us, we decided to go to the therapy, and that was so surprising for me because it was my first therapy. It really helped our relationship. We started understanding better, we started communicating with each other like so much better. A lot of things which felt really impossible to do, somehow they become very possible. But then something weird happened. The relationship was improving, but I was not. I still couldn't finish my basic task. I was still feeling so stuck in life. I still had this constant feeling that I am failing at life. Like I am just a loser. Before therapy, I was blaming a lot of these things on relationship. I was thinking that was the cause of this stress. Maybe once it gets better, everything will be fine. But when things between us got better, I was still feeling the same inside, like I used to feel before. And that scared me because then I started thinking, what if problem is not around me, problem is me, and I need to fix myself. And maybe I never sat and thought about this problem. So I decided to continue my therapy with the same therapist, not because I thought that I had ADHD. That thought was not even in my mind. I just knew that I was tired. I was just tired of being behind. I was tired of feeling like a loser, tired of starting over every Monday and thinking that this week I'm gonna make it happen. Tired of making plans and watching it fail. Sitting in front of my work knowing exactly what I had to do and still somehow not being able to start. And the worst part was I couldn't explain it because from the outside it looks very simple. Just do the work. Just wake up early. Just be more disciplined. Make a routine. Just focus. But inside my head, it didn't feel simple at all. I felt like there was a wall between me and the things I wanted to do. I don't know if I'm making sense. And every single time this normal advice didn't work, I just felt like, what the I'm failing in life. I'm such a big loser. I kept blaming myself for these things every single day for years. I thought maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I'm just irresponsible. Maybe everybody else got the instructional manual for their lives and I don't have it. So in the beginning, my therapist suggested like very practical changes, things that totally made sense for me and for everybody else. Small routines, better structure, ways to manage my work and my emotions. And I tried. I really did. But the same problem was still there. I could understand the advice logically. I could agree with it. I could even feel motivated for a day or maximum for a week. But then I would fall back to the same pattern. And that was the most frustrating part. Because when you try to change something and you're not able to stick to that thing, literally you feel like a loser. You lose your confidence in me. I stopped trusting myself. And also, I seriously started thinking that I need some help. Then around the fourth session, something changed, and I remember I went to my therapist, and she started trying some different angle on me. Like she started asking different kind of questions related to autism and related to ADHD. Those questions were not just that are you stressed or you're sad, but questions about how my brain actually works. She asked about the focus, starting the task, finishing task, forgetfulness, emotional overwhelm, procrastination, routines, whether I had always felt like a normal life life is a struggle. And she kept asking, and I remember thinking, why are all these questions are so specific? Why do they feel like she's describing my whole life? And then she said something which I was not expecting. She told me it could be worth exploring autism and ADHD. She was doubting more about the ADHD. And I remember thinking, ADHD? Me? Because in my head, ADHD was completely different. I thought ADHD means you're constantly roaming around, the hyperactiveness, and I was literally the opposite. And I didn't know that ADHD can also look like you sitting silently working or trying to work and your head is going all over the place. I didn't know it could look like being overwhelmed to just finish a very small, simple task. So my therapist recommended that I see a psychiatrist, but the waiting list here was too long and it was very expensive. It is very expensive to go through the whole process. So she gave me an option that because she had this access to a questionnaire, an interview to see if I have like strong ADHD symptoms before I spend my money and also wait for that appointment. We did it and I matched 8 out of 10 symptoms. Even know how to explain this feeling because a part of me felt relieved. Maybe I'm not making this up. Maybe I'm not just lazy. Maybe there is actually a reason why everything felt so hard. But another part of me kind of felt scared because if this was ADHD, I have spent so many years of my life blaming myself without understanding that it was not my fault. So after that, she strongly recommended me to go to a psychiatrist. I booked an appointment and honestly, I was nervous. I was scared that they would say that I'm literally making it up. You're just stressed. Because when you have spent so many years of doubting yourself, even asking for help feels embarrassing. It feels like that you'll have to prove that you're struggling enough. But after the appointment, I got diagnosed with ADHD and I didn't know how to feel. I thought that I would feel happy because I had an answer, and I did feel relieved, but I also felt sad because suddenly I started thinking about younger me. All the time I thought I was lazy, all the time I thought I was irresponsible, all the time I thought I was too emotional. I hated myself to not be able to do things that seemed really, really simple for other people. And now there was a name for it. That didn't fix everything, but it changed everything. I still struggle. I still have the days where I can't focus. I still have the days where I feel overwhelmed with very small things. I'm still trying to figure out my routine, my work, my relationship, and how to deal with this brain, learning how to have like more control of my brain. But the biggest change is that I don't see myself the same way. Before I thought I was failing because I didn't care. Now I know that I cared so much that I used to get exhausted from trying. Before I thought I was lazy. Now I understand that my brain needs different tools. And that gave me something which I didn't had before, just an explanation. And sometimes an explanation is the first step to finally stop hating yourself. I'm not saying that if you relate to this, you have ADHD. I'm not a doctor and diagnosis looks different on different people. But if you have spent your whole life feeling lazy, messy, literally getting stuck doing these basic simple routines, like simple works, if life is so harder for you to just live, maybe it's worth asking question. And getting diagnosed didn't make my life perfect, but it gave me a starting point. It gave me a language. It gave me answers. And for the first time, I can look at myself and think that I'm not lazy. I just didn't understand myself. I just needed help. If you have ADHD or you're wondering you might have, please tell me in the comment section. What was the first sign that made you think that you have ADHD? Or maybe this is ADHD. Because I want this to be a place where we can talk about these things honestly, not in a very perfectly aesthetic, I fixed my life way, but in a very real way, because I'm still trying to figure it out. This is not the story of how I fixed my life. This is the story of how I stopped blaming myself.